February's hobby update, Ask Me Anything kind of video, which I'm premiering tonight. Thank you for coming along and thank you for watching this one. There's not really much of an intro really to the show. We'll just get cracking into it. Hobby update time, really. What have I been doing hobby wise? Now obviously if some of you are following me along on Instagram and Facebook, or you've seen some of the posts that I've shared, you'll know that this month I actually started a brand new kill team for Imperial Guard, which I'm really looking forward to. It's pretty much the only thing personal hobby related that I've been doing, for reasons that I'll get to a little bit later on in the video. So yeah, if I grab the camera just for a second and we can come on over here and have a look. If we can get round just behind the light here, you got these three guys up the top here, these three guardsmen. That's part of the hobby. That's part of the kill team. We have a sniper specialist, a veteran, and the sergeant leader. And further along you can just see this row of three guys here going the way back, these ones that are painted black, and we have the other specialists at the back. These guys are just a fire team, and these prime specialists at the back we'll be getting to later on, probably, well, next month now. And then next to them just these two here, unprimed models here. Some slight kit bashing in terms of let's get that in focus if I can. It's not really going to focus very well there, but the that's a Tempestor Prime. And I also have, if we grab this over here, is a platoon commander, I think, or company commander or something like that. Let's put the camera down before I drop it. Yeah, so I have got commanders for my Imperial Guard kill team as well when I get around to doing it. Hopefully I'll be able to paint them up and get them on the tabletop. Hopefully next month at some point. We'll see what happens, and maybe you guys can see them on one of the kill team live games that I do. So that's interesting. Hobby wise, it's pretty much all I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of planning about what I want to get in the future. Definitely want to get myself some more kill teams and hopefully build up the availability of the teams that I've got, because I love kill teams, to be honest, and to be able to try all of those different armies. Yeah. In terms of why I haven't done a lot of hobbying stuff is just generally what's just behind the camera. And I'll pick the camera up and show you again in a minute, but it's also a kind of a basis of operations update. Is that recently with the way that the channel is going, I'm kind of gonna slow down, not stop, but I definitely want to slow down the amount of commission work I've been doing. And let me just show you what I mean. This commission that I have on the go at the minute is just here, and it goes on. These are Genestealer cults, some Tyranids. There's a couple of Dystopian War ships that you can just see in the middle background there. I've got some wolves, Wolfkin of Rust at the back. Some more Genestealer cults that are in the middle of being painted. And then I can come up on the shelf a bit up here, and there are some more Dystopian War stuff. The Space Marines at the back there aren't part of it, but a lot of Dystopian War stuff along here as well. And all of that is from one client, and yeah, it's taken up a lot of time because trying to do the videos for the channel, it's kind of a case of, do I do a video or do I do some of the commission work, and it's getting a bit much. So yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna do commissions and you guys will be able to see. Whoops, forgot to turn that off. There's an alarm. But yeah, I'll still be doing commission work and stuff. I'm just going to reduce how much I do in one time so that I could do some more videos, and certainly some of the videos that I've been doing recently with the Death Guards and the Myphitic Blight Hauler. I did the Genestealer Cult Aberrant, which was one of those models. The trouble is that I wanted to do videos for one of every of those units. And so I'd have lots of videos to show you guys how I do this sort of stuff, how to do it quickly, but also how to do it easily so you're not stressing yourself out too much. and just overall, it takes me so long to make a video that it's just pausing the entire process of commission painting. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to scale back the stuff that I accept into, you know, single squads, maybe larger models, and we'll see how that goes, you know, and hopefully you guys will be able to get much more decent content from me, rather than me stressing out trying to get all of the models done at the same time. With that in mind, there may be a bit of a gap in my regular videos I've been releasing. I think the Aberrant was the last one I did, or the Blight Hauler was the last one I did. I can't remember what the last video was that I released. But that, I think, might be the last one until I can get that commission out of the way. And then once that's done, I can then start recording on single models a lot quicker and a lot more, and then start releasing some videos. So there may be a gap in the Friday evening uploads. However, my live streams are obviously going to go on as they normally do. So you can still get plenty of content from me. And also, some of you may have noticed that I start popping up a lot more live, just randomly. And that's something else I'm planning on doing a lot more over the next few weeks, and we'll see how it works. We'll see if we can get into a kind of a, not necessarily a rhythm, but we'll see if we can start doing that sort of stuff. The kind of shows that just get completely derailed because people start asking questions, and we have a chat, and they are much more chilled and chats, so they're not really going to be, you know, highly informative kind of episodes, but they're certainly a lot of fun at what we've done so far. And speaking of fun, some also might have noticed, if you've been joining on the live shows, or if you've seen some of the live shows go out in the last few weeks, we have a Discord server for people to come along and join. The link is in the description below, where we just generally hang out and have a chat and ask questions and share knowledge and various other bits and pieces. So I would love if any of you want to come along and join that. The link should be in the description below. Come and join the Discord server. And so that's kind of been growing, and we're kind of be getting used to using that and stuff. So yeah, that's an open invitation for everybody to have a look at the link and jump in on that. Other updates, I'm not sure there is a lot of them. So you know what I'm going to be doing hobby wise, you know what the channel is going to be doing, yeah, and Discord, which is some of the big updates. So there's not a huge amount there, but it was only a month since the last Ask Me Anything, and there will only be a month between the next one, so hopefully these things will be reasonably short, to be fair, unless of course I get a ton of questions coming in that I will answer. And I'm going to get on with those now, with the ones from my Patreons, most of which are from Reese, and I think there's one in here from Wayne as well. Number one from Reese is, what is my favourite 40k fluff? And I like that one. My favourite fluff in terms of what I've actually read was the Blood Angels Omnibus. No, actually it's not. It was Devastation of Baal. But yeah, Blood Angel fluff is my favourite to read. I kind of love that kind of stuff. I love the lore of the Blood Angels, which is why I was playing them in 40k. On the whole, I'm not really too fussed about stories. I do try and read. I don't read anywhere near as much as I would like to. But on the whole, I do like these. I do like interesting stories. I think a lot of what I've tried to read in 40k can be quite hard to read, in terms of, especially I get tripped up on a lot of the names of things and places, and I get tripped up, and it kind of slows me reading down, and I lose the rhythm, so it's quite difficult. But my favourite 40k fluff is definitely got to be Blood Angels. It has to be, really. If money was no barrier, what would you buy and why? Now, last month I did say it was Smaug, which is like £250 model, and I think that was my knee-jerk reaction to that question, because I kind of want to spend that kind of money on a nice big dragon that I paint myself, which would be cool. But this kind of question came up in a live stream as well the other day, and Honestly, I think if money was no barrier, would be I would go. I really want to buy the Realm of Battle boards, both from Games Workshop and Forge World, which might seem a really weird thing to say. Oh, just buy terrain with if money was no object. Um, but I think if money was no object, I could buy whatever I wanted to. But if money was no object, only within buying stuff that you wouldn't normally buy because you've only got so much money, which doesn't. I really overthink these kind of questions. But I think if money was no object, what models would I buy? Would be terrain, because terrain tends to be an afterthought for most people because you've only got a limited amount of money, and so you would rather your money went onto things that you would play with, i.e., your models, your armies. Um, so if I had money that I could just frivolously throw at something, I'd probably put it into terrain because if you're playing at a Games Workshop or if you're playing at a game club, then they've probably got terrain, so you wouldn't really consider buying it. But then if you also play at home, um, you probably haven't got your own terrain or a very good terrain or much of it, just because buying terrain doesn't seem to be a really important thing to do. And so when you're playing out, you're playing with these really nicely painted models out in the wild and playing with painted terrain because the club has done it or the Games Workshop store has painted the terrain. But when you play at home, you're probably playing on a table with coffee cups and mugs and books, and you might have some painted terrain. Of course, I'm making assumptions about the viewer base, but I don't see that terrain is a really important thing to buy. So ironically, I think it's a long-winded way of saying, if money was no object, what would I buy? I would just blow a ton of cash on Realm of Battle boards because I'd love them. And it's something that I probably, especially the ones from Forge World, I probably won't buy them anytime soon. Even though I probably one of the only things from Forge World I really do want to own. This one was from Wayne. Do you think that you will still be playing and painting in 30 years' time? In 30 years' time, I'll be 60. Um, will I still be playing and painting in 30 years' time? I think so, as long as my body is physically capable of doing it. I have been getting a bit of a strain in my wrist from shaking paint bowls, which has been playing up. So hopefully that's not going to expand into anything more serious. I would get one of those paint shakers, but they're really noisy, and I can't use that in the middle of the night. But I would hope to be playing and painting in 30 years' time. Playing, I don't know. It depends on what they do to the game system, as well as I suppose Games Workshop. Are they going to set that? I mean, they've been around for 40 years now, ish, something like that. Are they still going to be around in another 30 years' time? Well, I hope so. But we'll have to see what happens. I mean, if Games Workshop go bust, am I going to be able to pick up another game and start playing that? I hope so, because I do enjoy the hobby as a hobby. I do enjoy painting models and playing games, and so I do hope so. I really do. But I suppose you can never know what the future's going to hold. Another one from Reese was favorite paint color. I did answer that last month, and I'll answer it again this month. Is red, mostly vibrant reds, specifically things like Mephiston red, that kind of shade. I do like that. Corn red is a bit dark for my liking, but red, red. What's my least favorite? I don't really have a least favourite, and you may be able to see my eyes scanning around the room just trying to see if there's any colour there that I don't particularly like. I don't really have an unfavourite colour, because the way I see it, most colours have a use of purpose, and so I don't really kind of think that there's any models that I don't like using, just because of the shade of colour. So no, I don't have a least favourite. And then some questions came up in the live feed the other day, so I'll go through those nice and quickly as well. What's your favourite kill team? Difficult one. I mean, my Blood Angels, of course, because they're Blood Angels. So they look nice as a knee-jerk reaction. My Genestealers are pretty tough. I've only played them once though against Tau, so I don't really know. Unless Genestealers is in my Tyranid kill team, I don't really know if they're that good. But I would also say that I am most looking forward to trying my guards, because I've never done anything that is specifically kind of a gun line kind of. I've used Poxwalkers, but I've never used guard before, so I'm really interested to see how they go. So I hope that kind of answers that question. What's my favourite model of all time? It's a really tough one to answer, because just in general, I like most models, in honesty. I mean, I certainly have models that I don't like. But on the whole, there's not really anything that I find that stands out as being, oh, this is my most favourite model. There are a few notable mentions. The Saint Celestine model looks really nice. Magnus looks really nice. I kind of like that model. So there are a few off the top of my head. I think, yeah, that's a really cool model, but nothing really pops out as being my most favourite of all time. Just generally because I just enjoy most of them. What primers do I use? Now, I did do a video on this, and you can find the video in the basics of painting. Most of the time when my airbrush is working, I use a Vallejo primer, Vallejo grey. I don't have it to hand, it'll be behind me somewhere. Yeah, Vallejo grey airbrush primer is what I use mostly. But I am known, if my airbrush is out of action, or if it's cleaning, or just generally just for a bit of speed, just for a single model, I'll use Plasticoat grey primer. I buy it from B&M or the Rangers, about $5.99 or $4.99 for a rattle can. So yeah, those are the primers I use. What's my opinion on recasts? And we had a bit of a discussion about this on a live show a couple of days ago. Of course, if you're, I will never buy a recast. If I know it's been, if it's been copied and somebody's selling it, absolutely not. It's not going to happen. And then, and I mean, legally, it's piracy. So no, I wouldn't do that. And we had a discussion about at what point does a recast become morally questionable. Considering, Green Stuff World will sell blue stuff that will allow you to create a copy of something, and you can even create two-part molds with that stuff to a degree. Is it okay to copy a part, like a flag or a banner or a weapon option or a set of legs? At what point does it become questionable whether you're recasting? And again, for personal use, I mean, obviously, recasting something and then selling it as a part, that's, shouldn't be doing that anyway. So my opinion on recasts is a grey area, and at what point does it become acceptable to do so, and what point does it become unacceptable to do so? I don't know, and I would be interested to hear what people say about that one, actually, so feel free to start a discussion in the comments, but keep it civil, of course, because people have got different opinions. But yeah, we were talking about, whether it's okay to buy a box of guardsmen. Guard are on my head at the minute. Buy a box of guardsmen, put those together, and then make copies of those so that you can make an entire 40k kill team. And then if you ever decide to not play guard anymore, throw them away rather than sell them, of course, because that would be illegal to sell them on. But at what point does it become, you shouldn't be doing that, you should be buying the models. I don't know, it's an interesting thought. But my opinion on recast is, it's complicated. I think that's the best way to answer that question. Chaos or for the Emperor? I don't really have a preference either way, because it's I don't know, it's a story, I mean, I read the first Heretic and felt that the Emperor was a bit wrong in the way that he dealt with things, but at the end of the day, I also only play 40k as Blood Angel players, very loyalist, so it's a story. I'm not too fussed either way. What other game systems would you have a dabble in? And this is an interesting one, actually, because I am thinking about having a look at other games and seeing what's out there. You know, I'm 3 years into a hobby now that, you know, I've certainly seen a lot of GW stuff, and I do know of other games that exist out there. For argument's sake, a big one that I would like to try at some point would be D&D. I know it's not necessarily tabletop wargaming, but I would love to get into D&D and have a dabble in that and see what it's like. But then I know of some other games that people have been throwing around to me, specifically Tabletop Minions obviously talks about other games a lot, about things like Gaslands, Frostgrave perhaps, and Malifaux is another one that people say a lot. So I wouldn't mind dabbling around a lot of them. I think the biggest thing really is, you know, how much do you dabble in before you're really investing in it. And do I really want to invest in a game that I'm not really that into? You know, I don't want to try a game I need to find I don't like it. So other game systems, all of them, but I mean, I have tried Bolt Action before actually in the past, and I didn't really find it that interesting. Or the game itself worked well, but I wasn't interested in the subject matter. So I'm not a big historical gamer kind of person. So you know, anything historical I probably wouldn't be interested in. But yeah, I'd certainly play the field and see what else is around there. What's my opinion on the new GW Funko Pops? They're alright. I mean, I wouldn't buy any myself. I'm not interested in them because I'm not a Funko Pop kind of fan, but I know that there are plenty of people out there who are. And so, yeah, I mean, they're a collectible item, to be fair, and if some people want them, but I'm not fussed about them, to be honest. I certainly don't have, you know, a lot of these questions as well, when you talk about what my opinion is there's very few things that I would be, certainly when it comes to a hobby, I'm certainly there's very few things that I will put my foot down and say, I am against it, you know, and I am against selling recasts, but I wouldn't say that I'm against making them. It's the same as the Funko Pops. completely opposite end, but you know, I'm not going to say I'm against Funko Pops. I'm just not that interested in them. But I know that other people are, and I'm not going to judge people on the fact that they like Funko Pops, as well as things like the Warhammer Adventures. You know, you see these Facebook groups, and they will blow up with people hating it. Okay, you know, if you don't like it, then don't buy it. You know, and if it doesn't succeed as a business plan for GW, it'll disappear. But if it does work, then GW is going to get stronger, and then of course, you know, you have a lot of people that are worried about, oh, if Warhammer Adventures works and turns GW into you know, into a PG-13 company, it would mean that you're in the minority. You know, if that's what happens, if you hate these Funko Pop stuff and they work really well, and then GW starts using more and more and more and turning more and more like a Funko Pop company, and you hate it and you scream and shout about it, but they still do it, it means that your voice is a minority. So it's not really a lot you can do about it anyway. So I don't tend to get too riled up about business decisions that I'm not a part of. So yeah. So we'll move on from that into something. What models do I dislike to build and paint? Mostly Finecast. In fact, actually, to be honest, resin. I'm not a fan of resin in general. I did enjoy building the Wargame exclusive Imperial Deathlord that I did as a Thursday night project. But on the whole, resin models, and specifically, what specific resin models do I really hate doing is the Tyranid ones. I seem to have a great difficulty getting Tyranid Finecast models to stay together, and then trying to paint on top of that when it doesn't want to stay together is a nightmare. Yeah, so most resin stuff I don't like, but specifically the Tyranids. Alright, so yeah, we got to the end of the questions there. There's a bit of a ramble in the middle, but yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's a pleasure doing these, and I do like hearing people's thoughts about what they want my opinion on. I do appreciate that, thank you. And also, you know, if you want to know anything else, feel free, ask me anything in the description, in the comments below. Because yeah, I'll do another one of these next month, and we'll see how far the guard got along. We'll see if we managed to get rid of the Genestealer coats on the shelf as well, and all of that jazz. And as usual, don't forget, if you want to check out, follow me on any of my social medias, you can find all of the links in the description below. And while you're down there, you can also support the channel by following the Patreon link, should you wish to do so. But obviously you can just go through those at your leisure. But I would love to hear from you in the chat below, so we can get a discussion, especially on the recast subject. I would love to know what other people think about that, because at the end of the day, my opinion doesn't matter, really. It's not gospel, but it certainly would. It's certainly a conversation starter. All right, so yeah, if you've got any other questions, feel free to throw them in the comments below, and I'll just leaves me to say thank you for watching this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right, Dara.